The average person makes 35,000 decisions a day, but it only takes one catastrophically wrong choice to end everything. I'm standing outside room 604 at the Marriott downtown, my hand frozen inches from the door, knowing that whatever happens next will change everything. Inside that room is a man who's probably killed 3 women. A man who's been manipulating me from across a courtroom for 2 weeks. A man who once made me forget my own name in the best possible way. And despite everything, the evidence, the pattern, the bodies, I'm about to knock on his door. Some urges, it seems, are stronger than self-preservation. I'd spent 3 hours getting ready, shower, shave, the kind of preparation you do when you know someone's going to see you naked. Which was insane, because this wasn't a date. This was what? A negotiation? A confession? A trap? I told myself I was going to confront him, to get the truth, to do my civic duty and gather evidence. But I wore the black dress anyway, the one that hugged my curves and made my legs look endless. If he was going to manipulate me, I could manipulate him right back. At least that's what I told myself as I knocked on the door. He answered immediately, like he'd been waiting by the door. Shirtless, wearing only dark jeans that hung low on his hips. His body looked exactly the same as I remembered. Lean muscle, defined chest, that trail of hair that disappeared beneath his waistband. "You came," he said, stepping aside to let me in. The room was classic hotel luxury, king bed with crisp white sheets, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and a bottle of expensive-looking red wine breathing on the nightstand. "Did you drug it?" I asked, nodding toward the wine. He laughed, a genuine sound that reminded me why I'd gone home with him in the first place. "Sarah, if I wanted to hurt you, would I have spent 2 weeks flirting with you in a courtroom full of witnesses?" Good point. Terrifying point, but good. "Do you know how boring legal proceedings are when you already know the ending?" he said, settling into the chair across from me. I remained standing, keeping distance between us. "Do you know the ending?" "I know you're going to vote to acquit me." The certainty in his voice made my stomach clench. "What makes you so sure?" "Because you're here, because you wore that dress, because you remember what we had together. What we had was one night of meaningless sex. Was it meaningless?" He leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. "Because I remember a woman who came apart in my arms like she'd been waiting her whole life for someone to touch her the right way." Heat flooded my cheeks. "That doesn't change what you are." "And what am I?" "A killer." He was quiet for a long moment, studying my face. Then he smiled. Not the charming smile from the bar, but something darker, more honest. "You're right," he said simply. The admission hit me like a physical blow. "Jessica," I whispered. "Jessica." And before her, Maria. And before Maria, Catherine. He rattled off the names like items on a grocery list. 3 wives, 3 accidents, 3 life insurance payouts. I should have run, should have screamed, should have called 911. Instead, I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to understand who I am, what I am, before you decide whether to save me." "They weren't good women, Sarah," he continued, his voice soft, almost hypnotic. "Catherine was a drunk who threw plates at my head. Maria was cheating with her personal trainer, and Jessica..." He stood, moved to the window, his back to me. Jessica was going to leave me, take everything, the house, the money, the life we'd built together. She was going to destroy me and walk away laughing. "So you killed her?" I protected myself. He turned back to me, and I saw something vulnerable in his expression. "What if I told you Jessica was planning to kill me first? That she'd already bought the insulin, already planned to make it look like a diabetic episode?" He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. "These are Jessica's browser searches from the week before she died. Insulin overdose symptoms. How to fake a break-in. Life insurance double indemnity clauses." He handed me the papers. They looked official, stamped and signed by a private investigator. She was planning to frame me for her suicide, collect the insurance money through a beneficiary trust, and disappear with her real lover. My hands shook as I read the documents. They were convincing, detailed, professional. They were also probably fake, but they were exactly what I wanted to see. Why show me this, I asked. Because I need you to understand. I'm not a monster, Sarah. I'm a survivor. He sat beside me on the bed, close enough that I could feel the heat of his body. I've been watching you for 2 years, Sarah, following your career, your life. When I saw your name on the jury list, I knew it was fate. You arranged this, I breathed. The jury selection. I made sure you had the opportunity to choose me. His thumb traced circles on my palm. And you did. You're here. His lips found my neck, working the sensitive skin there. I should have pushed him away. Instead, I melted into him. This is wrong, I gasped, as his hands found the zipper of my dress. Then why does it feel so right? What happened next was inevitable from the moment I knocked on his door. He undressed me slowly, reverently, like I was something precious. His hands mapped my body with careful attention, finding every spot that made me gasp and arch beneath his touch. When he laid me back on the white hotel sheets, I felt like a sacrifice, an offering to something dark and dangerous and irresistible. He worshipped my body with his mouth, his hands, his words. Every nerve ending came alive under his attention, and I forgot everything except the way he made me feel. Wanted, chosen, alive. When he finally moved inside me, it was with controlled intensity. He watched my face, cataloging every expression. Say my name, he commanded. Damien. Who do you belong to? I should have said no one, should have maintained some shred of independence. Instead, I whispered, you, and meant it. Afterward, we lay tangled together, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my bare shoulder. I need you to do something for me, he said quietly. What? During deliberations, when they vote, I need you to hold out, create doubt. I should have said no, should have told him that justice wasn't for sale. But his hand was stroking my hair, and his body was warm against mine, and I felt more desired than I had in years. What if they convict anyway, I asked. They won't, not if you do your job. His arm tightened around me. And if you do, if you save me, I promise you'll never regret it. And if I don't? The stroking stopped. His body tensed almost imperceptibly. Then I'll be very disappointed. And when I'm disappointed, I do things I regret. The next morning, closing arguments concluded, and we were sent to deliberate. The vote was immediate and overwhelming. 11 guilty, 1 undecided. Guess who the holdout was? I just think we need to be sure, I said, hating how weak my voice sounded. Are you kidding me? Juror number 3 stared at me like I'd grown a second head. The evidence is overwhelming. But what if we're wrong? What if Jessica was planning to kill him first? It was a lie, a manipulation, a betrayal of everything I was supposed to stand for. But it worked. Over the next 6 hours, I systematically dismantled the prosecution's case, not with facts or logic, but with emotion and fear and carefully planted doubt. One by one, they began to waver. By evening, the vote was 6 guilty, 4 not guilty, 2 undecided. By the next morning, it was 5 guilty, 7 not guilty. I was winning, and hating myself for it. We find the defendant, not guilty. The words echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot. Gasps from the gallery, a sob from Jessica's mother. And Damien? Damien looked directly at me. His eyes held a silent, unmistakable thank you. After we were dismissed, I found myself alone in the courthouse parking lot. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Room 604, 1 hour. Time to celebrate. I'd done what he asked. I'd saved him. I'd perverted justice and let a killer walk free. What more could he want? But I already knew the answer. He wanted me. All of me. My body, my soul, my complicity in his crimes. And despite everything, the guilt, the shame, the crushing knowledge of what I'd done, I was going to give it to him. "You did beautifully," he said, pulling me into his arms. "I'm so proud of you." The praise should have disgusted me. Instead, it felt like absolution. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now we disappear, together. I have money, resources, a new identity waiting. We can go anywhere, be anyone. And Jessica's family? We'll learn to live with disappointment." His hands cupped my face. "You can't save everyone, Sarah. Sometimes you have to choose who matters most." He made love to me that night with desperate intensity, like he was trying to brand himself on my soul. Because when I woke up the next morning, I wasn't the same person who'd walked into that courtroom 3 weeks ago. I was something else now, something darker, an accomplice, a conspirator, a woman in love with a killer. "Pack light," he told me over breakfast. "We leave tonight. Where are we going? Does it matter? As long as we're together." I quit my job via email, broke my lease via text, told my family I was taking an extended vacation. By sunset, I was in his car, driving toward a future I couldn't imagine but couldn't resist. We made it exactly 73 miles before I realized the truth. Damien Shaw hadn't seduced me to save himself. He'd seduced me because he needed a new victim. And I'd made it so easy for him. The man I'd fallen in love with, the man I'd perverted justice for, the man I'd given up everything to be with, was planning to kill me. The only question was when.